Hey, what's up, fellas? I'm malicious female fan Steve Malicious here with a look at the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. For my money, still the best pound-for-pound offering that Samsung has out today. We're going to take a look at the device, some of the features, some of the things you actually get back that you've lost in subsequent Galaxy devices, all today on this edition of Steve Malicious Tech. And we're back, and right at the top of the video, let me thank you guys so much for 250 subscribers. It really means a lot to me. If you like the videos, if you like old tech, new tech phones like this, go ahead and tussle that subscribe button. It certainly means a lot to me. So let's put into perspective when I'm talking about pound for pound, the best Samsung offering for your money. $650 gets you one of these Plus models, brand new off of Amazon right now. $600 if you could search around for a little bit of a deal, you could get it a little bit cheaper, but you get a whole lot of phone and top tier specs, even in 2020, for that $600. Now, you may notice, just as an aside, some thunder and some rain outside. You could just kind of pretend it's an ASMR video or something, because I know my voice is just absolutely relaxing. So you could go ahead and enjoy that as a special little bonus. But what do you get in the S10 Plus? Snapdragon 855, which if you have friends carrying around a Note 10 Plus, that's the processor that they're rocking right now. 8 gigs of RAM in the base model. There is a model that offers 12, but 8 is just fine. You won't notice that big of a performance issue, especially with the software the way it is right now. 4100 milliamp hour battery, still pretty good. It'll last you the entire day. Wireless charging, fast charging, all top tier specs, even in 2020. So you're not really losing a whole lot right there. Quad HD display, a really nice panel. We're getting to the point with these panels, especially on the newer Samsung devices, where you have to try really hard to start noticing these differences, especially when they're all at the same resolution. OLED, fantastic contrast as you're going to get with these displays. Samsung has always had some of the best panels on the market, and this one certainly is no disappointment. Some of the things that you get back in a device like this that you've lost in the Samsung offerings from this year: number one, a headphone jack. The Note 10 didn't even have a headphone jack, so you get that back in the S10 Plus. Still useful. I don't care what anybody says. You don't charge your devices. You don't want to charge your buds. You just want to throw a pair of headphones in a bag or a little wind-up head, whatever you happen to have. Sometimes it's just nice to plug something into a phone and have it work. With the inline controls, whether it's the mic, whatever it is, you're just going for a run. You don't want wireless headphones on when you're going to the gym, whatever it is. You get to the gym and you realize, oh man, I only have 10% left on my Bluetooth headphone. Just plug something in. It's useful. I don't think it makes that big of a difference as far as the spacing in the device. When you see these breakdowns of these devices, jerry-rig everything, he opens these things up. It's such a small part in there. And we're not to the point where the phones are thin enough where the actual jack size is coming into interference with the device design itself. So still put one in, and you get one in this. Also, you'll notice, what I feel, oh, say hello to R2-D2, by the way. He's our helper for the day. And we matched it, the white with the white. You don't get that anywhere else. You don't get this kind of color coordination on these other tech channels. I'm just telling you right now. The other thing that I think is important on this particular device, now this might be personal preference. One part of it is, one part of it isn't. I think this is the correct implementation of the hole punch. I know Lou, Unbox Therapy's talked about this before as well. This, I think, is the most unobtrusive position for it. When you're watching content, depending on how you want to look at it, you could kind of have it out of the way, down in the bottom. You could put it, it's even over in the top. It's just not in the center where it's always in your field of view, where you're always looking at it, and it has no choice but to be in the way of the content that you're looking at. It's just, and this part's personal preference, where I just think it looks better up there. But I think it kind of puts it out of the way, and you don't have it where, like you have it on your Note 10, where it's there regardless. You try to get away from it, you try to angle your content, it's always right in the middle of what you're trying to do. The other thing that I think is a big thing is you get the second lens back. You get the wide angle selfie camera back. I don't know where this trend came from. I know where it came from, but I don't know why Samsung felt the need to get on that bandwagon. Apple was a company that for the sake of design would sometimes take features away. Okay? Samsung was always the one that kept the features in. They used the function over the form. They made the form fit whatever features they wanted the device to have. Same thing with this S10 Plus. They made that work with the camera. Now you have the whole punch that they take something away with the single lens in the center for the sake of the design of the device. Don't be that way. Apple's the one that gives us stuff, either takes it away or gives it to us 5 years too late. Google's the company that just never gives you anything in the first place. And Samsung now is a company that takes stuff away. I really hope that they start reversing these trends, because there are ways to make this, I think, is an elegant implementation. I don't think there's anything particularly ugly about that, and you get the wide angle lens. And once you started using that, the first camera I had, the first phone I had was an LG G6 with that wide angle lens. And man, I brought that thing everywhere, because when you were in a group, when you were out, when you were on vacation, it was fantastic to have that to get everybody in the shot. And to not have that now, I think, is a real disappointment. And this device, an S10 Plus in 2020, still gives it to you with decent performance. Let's talk these listen. The fingerprint sensor in screen works perfectly fine. When it first came out, it needed to. I love when people say when these things first come out, well, it'll get better. It needs to learn. It gets better over time. I don't want to listen. Tell me how it's operating when you're asking for my money. At the exact moment that you're asking for my dollars to come out of my pocket, that's how you tell me how the device is operating. Don't give me this stuff where it learned like all that stuff and it gets better in the future. No. Tell me how it's operating now. Now, I'm asking for your money, or I'm not. Samsung or whoever would be asking for your money in 2020 at this point in June. It works well. It works well. You need to, it's not as quick as the physical ones, but it works just fine on this device, even though this is one of the first Samsung implementations of the in-screen fingerprint sensor. Camera. This is where you're not giving up as much as you probably would have been with an older Samsung device. The S10 Plus, to me, was the first big jump for them. It used to be Pixel 3, maybe, and then you'd go down 50 feet, and then it was the Note 9, the iPhone XS, whatever other the competition was. This was the first device where the sensors and the software caught up to where it was like, Pixel 4 around here, iPhone, and then iPhone caught up with iPhone 11, and then Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus, maybe a little bit below it, but you have enough lenses. You have that kind of extra little bit that gets it to where it's really good. And I'll tell you what, the big difference that you see is in the night mode performance. The video is always good on the Samsung devices. The Note 9 video is really strong. Where it suffered was in low light. Same thing with the iPhone XS. This fixes that. I'm going to put in some pictures that we took in Japan that at night where the iPhone XS was useless. Useless. You couldn't tell out what was going on. This thing picked it up in detail and produced really, really nice images. And that's where I think I could safely recommend this is the strongest offering pound for pound, even in 2020, because this was a huge leap in the quality of the camera. And that's important now. You need to be able to take those night mode shots. And it's not just night mode that improves when you get a better camera system like this. It's those medium light shots, those sunset shots where you still have a lot of light, but it gets kind of washed out a little bit, where you don't get quite that crisp detail where you do in something like this now, where they had in the past struggled even with the Note device, which was just a few months before the S10 Plus. So, this is the device I think, if you're looking for a Samsung offering, and you're looking at the S20 Ultra, and you're looking at some of these other things that they have that are coming in at over $1,000, $1,200, $1,400, and then you can look at something like this that's $650. Are you getting twice the performance out of those phones? Absolutely not. I skipped the entire generation of Samsung phones this year, and I'm probably going to skip the Note 20 when we finally, I'm going to wait for the announcement, see, but I'm probably going to skip the Note 20 as well, because I think you get fantastic performance out of a price point that actually makes sense. And yeah, the lock button is in a goofy spot. That's the one thing. Was anybody clamoring for that? I don't quite understand. Like, I love your devices, but gee, that lock button kind of where people can hit it. That was a problem. Let's put it way up here. But that's a minor thing. You get over that. You get over that. Android 10, perfectly snappy still. It's got the One UI 2.0 update. Works really well. I like this device in particular with as opposed to some of the Note devices because the curve, they're getting less and less with the curve. They got less with it on the S20 this year, but this was kind of the start of that as well. It's not as dramatic. You can still use your Edge apps when you flick over, but it doesn't have to be. It's not crazy as we do that. So you can still have the Edge. Or I forget where I even have it. There we go. It still works fine, Apps Edge, but it's not a crazy fall off with these displays. Those are cosmetic things you get used to them. But I think, for my money, this is the most aesthetically pleasing Galaxy design that we've had in quite some time. So go ahead, pick one up. If you're in the market, I think it's worth your money. I think it's worth the deal. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Let me know if you have one of these. Let me know if you also skipped this generation of Samsung devices. The 20s? That 100x space zoom, whatever it was, didn't quite do it for me. It wasn't worth $1,200. But if you made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, have that Steve-alicious day.